Hello fellow collectors! So I got this model here from a relatively new seller on AliExpress called Hey Toys Store. They've only been around since May of 2021. So let's take a look and see if they did a good job. Yeah, I already cut some of this open. Okay, well, it's kind of a half-assed bubble wrap, right? They didn't actually wrap the car, they just... Yeah, that could have been packed better. And also, yeah. Alright, well, the model showed up safely, so I guess it's your risk if you want to buy from that seller again. I generally just buy whoever's selling at the cheapest price, but... Okay, so this is one of their newer BM creations because it's no longer in a hard plastic display box. It's just, you know, it's cardboard and then a plastic blister. But all BM creations, I believe, are licensed models. Here's the licensing there in the lower left. Sorry, I'm just throwing that stuff out. And I guess they have different steering wheel sides. Okay. So the Suzuki Cappuccino, not cappuccino, like the coffee beverage. It came out in 1991 and was sold until 1998. It was specifically designed for the Japanese market because they have the K-class of vehicles there, where they basically have these small vehicles for better tax breaks and mostly tax and insurance benefits because they're small vehicles. A K-class car cannot be longer than 3.3 meters, it can't be wider than 1.4 meters, and the engine cannot be larger than 660 cc's. A little cool graphic back there. I think that's like a Japanese shrine, I would have to imagine. Maybe that's near like Suzuki's headquarters or factory or something. So this car had a 3-cylinder engine of 660 cc capacity, and it was putting around 60 horsepower out there, and it was turbocharged. I never knew that. Okay, sorry. Get the focus on the model there. It's kind of hard to do. The headlights are too bright. Or my phone camera just stinks. I feel like I'm not focusing on the headlights properly, but... Alright, I'm going to focus on the wheel. I guess that's as good as I'm going to get it. Sorry. Okay, so with 2 passengers, or 2 people in the vehicle, it's supposed to have a 50-50 weight distribution, so I'm sure it handled pretty well. You know, it's also only 725 kilograms, so it probably actually felt like a sports car. You're not going to win drag races with 660 cc's, but I'm sure it handled pretty well. Okay, again, focus is always an issue. Okay. So the mechanical layout is the front mid-engine, so kind of like an S2000, where the you know, I guess the engine is behind the rear axle somewhere around here. It's rear-wheel drive, and then the roof was quite interesting to learn about. It could obviously be a full convertible like this, but it could also have a T-top configuration or a Targa configuration, or be a fully enclosed coupe. Sorry. So it seems like we got 2 pieces for the back there. We'll get to those a little later. Let's finish off this part here. Some aluminum parts are used here for the hood, the roof, and the rollover hoops to help that 50-50 weight distribution. And then I guess that back part of the canopy actually folds down into a recess here. You know, obviously we can't see it here in the model, but alright, so we have a red model. I think BM Creations only came out with a black and a red, so I took the lesser of 2 evils. I say evil because most of my red diecast cars have paint blistering, you know, the older ones. So we're gonna have to see if BM Creations painted this properly. But I wouldn't be surprised in a few years if this paint starts to blister. But I'd rather see the model now than a shiny black one, which has so many reflections. It's actually hard to see the bodywork. Okay, a little bit of orange peel. It's not so super bad, but anyways, we got this pretty good looking door handle. You know, the bottom half is recessed. There's an outline for the top half that you pull. I guess this is supposed to be like a key lock mechanism, but I don't see it on the real photographs, so I'm not sure why that would be there. There's also a recess here. I think that's maybe a reflector on the real car. There's no paint here though. Oh no, there is. There's a little bit of orange. Maybe right now you can tell. And they put a little black here in these vents here. Although on the real car, I'm gonna guess those are just cosmetic vents. Door panel lines seem okay. The separate plastic mirrors look pretty good. There's a little silver paint in them as well, so that's a nice detail. This guy actually, it does roll, just not well. You know, there's definitely some friction going on in there. So the front here, we got the nice to see the cappuccino text there. These little markers here are painted though, orange and silver. But we do have plastic here for the headlights, so that's nice. Let's see if we can zoom in and see. You can see a little rib detail. The ribs are on the outside, you can hear it. And then there's some molded die-cast light buckets back there. A little extra plastic flash there. A little black paint in this vent looks good. A texture, oh, yeah, this is actually a photo etched piece of metal painted black. So there's air passing between that. So that's a real grille. Very impressive. Suzuki badge looks good. Raised painted black wiper blades. The blackout's painted on the clear plastic, and actually this whole windshield frame is plastic, but they painted the rest of it black, including these little sun visors. Okay, this side. Oh, didn't notice before. Look, you got a little Suzuki logo in the middle of the wheel, so that's a nice touch. And then you got the lug nut details. And it looks like there's a disc brake system back there. This might be the first BM Creations I've seen brakes. I can't even remember. I don't know. Sorry if I can't remember all my models. But you can see the black caliper is staying in a stationary position. So the back one, it looks like the caliper must be here in the rear. So that's pretty cool. Very cool indeed. Fuel filler cap here. Nice plastic lenses, and there seems to be orange and red back there for the lights. Cappuccino again, a separate plastic backup light, so that's nice. I mean, that's a small little piece of plastic. Cappuccino printed nicely. A tiny little exhaust tip. Oh my goodness, look at that. We got another photo etched piece of metal grill. Wow, BM Creations, you are stepping up your game. This might be the nicest BM Creations I have now, and oddly, it's in the smallest one I have. Okay, so looking at the interior, just get your black molded details there. The photograph, it looks like it's all black, so I guess that's realistic. What I'm wondering is there instruments or not. Oh, look at this. I didn't even see with my own eyes. First is a cappuccino printed right there. I have to try to get in, and then yeah, you can see the instrument clusters. Very nice. I can't zoom in any further than that. I'm trying to decipher if that's a decal or a tampo print. I know like a lot of the BM seats are using decals. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because you're never going to touch that if it is a decal, so it should never have a problem. But very nice. Interesting seat ribs. They're like smooth and textured. This little roll cage got a little extra sprue there, but okay. Wow. Okay, I'm very happy. This is awesome. So, we know who made it, we know the scale, we know what the car is. All we don't know is like what the copyright date is. So in like 20 years when someone buys this off eBay, and if it has paint rash, you know, you're really not going to know unless you search the internet. A little silver paint here for that tiny exhaust, and then obviously it's screwed together because we have to swap out the wheels. Does it? No, The wheels don't steer now, and I think that's because they don't want them to steer during shipping, but you can loosen them up. And these are the stock wheels, you know, compared to the photographs, so they don't have much camber. If it rests here, well, I guess it could have some camber, but not too much. Okay, so make note that there's a little air gap there because it's a stock ride height. You know what, let's go into the roof here while we're... So this two little pins have that tonneau on there. So I guess on the real car, from what I've read on Wikipedia, this piece here, this back piece, is supposed to fold down or something somewhere in there. And then this is a two-piece system. So you can remove the whole center, make it look like a targa like this. But you can see the ridges here, so you can remove the left and right sides. So you'd have like a black stripe in the middle, making it a T-top. Although I can't really understand why someone would want to run this as a T-top if you could actually just make it a targa instead. So the fit is pretty nice. There's no massive panel gaps. Alright, so you gotta remember, I'm magnifying quite a bit. Sorry, there we go. I guess, you know, maybe that transition in there isn't perfect, but to the naked eye, you can't, it's not that bad. Anyways, plastic to plastic fits are pretty good. Diecast to diecast fits are pretty bad. That's what I've noticed in this hobby. Okay. So I'm going to display mine always as a convertible. I don't feel like a... Why would you display a convertible with the roof up? Right? Then you just buy the coupe version. Alright, so it's a little fiddly here. Alright, that's just going to fall out probably anyways when I flip it upside down like this. So let's pop this guy open. Naturally, if you've seen my videos before, you might want to fast forward, but there might be some design changes in here. So here you can see those little photo-etched grills there, right? So they're literally passing air, front and back. So that's a new one. I haven't seen grills on both ends of a BM Creation, so that's great detail. There's two rivets holding the windshield on there. Okay. And so this is actually similar to the very first ones, but a little bit different at the same time. They have each piece marked C4, C2, and 3. So I was fidgeting around with this and realized you can actually steer it a little bit because they're parallel edges, and there's a little bit of a gap that... See, there's a little gap in the straight position, but that small, like half-millimeter gap gives you enough room to steer the wheels. So this is actually different from all the other ones, and I guess, you know, the reason they did this is it's such a small car, it doesn't need to have a super amount of steering play, I guess, left and right steering. So it works. I suppose in theory you could just sand down the edges of both of these pieces, increase that gap, and then they would steer even further. Right, but that's actually still pretty good, right? Cool. It's possible also they may have designed these to fit other BM Creations cars, and that's why they left those holes to have a steering link. If you wanted to, you could put the washer on the top and that would actually raise the ride height. So this came in the lowered configuration already. Let's do a little side-to-side comparo. So these seem to be, you know, multi-piece or something. I forget what these are called, but they're very familiar looking JDM aftermarket wheels. It looks like they're a bigger diameter as well. I don't know what the size of these wheels are in the original car. Maybe they're like 14s or something, 13s possibly. But obviously this is a bigger size. Maybe they're like +1 inch or +2 inch. So that's interesting. Very chrome on the outside, black in the middle. But I don't know if there's a brake system back there. The whole openings are so small that I don't think you would see a brake system. In fact, I'm wondering if they're even hollow. Yeah, there is light passing through back there. So there it is. It's spinning around with other K-Class cars. This Subaru is called a Subaru Vivio, and this is made by CM's models. It's great. It's actually got blue seatbelts in there. This Honda Beat is by Aoshima, and then this AutoZam AZ1 or Mazda is also by Aoshima. So if you look at the footprint here, they're all trying to, be around the same size because they're trying to take advantage of the maximum dimensions allowed for the K-Class. But it's obvious that, people race these things. You can see some YouTube videos of people racing these against each other, K-Class races, and then this thing actually went rally racing, so that's pretty impressive. But you can see the wheels here, they're turned a little bit, I think it looks pretty nice. I like the stock wheels, but I like these aftermarket ones just a little bit more. You might be wondering, how big are these things compared to a normal size car? And actually there's a photograph back there of those three of the popular K-Class cars. And you can see some larger vehicles in the back corner there. But here, I like to pull out this mini Gt Rs6 with some Word C alloy wheels. So now you can see it's actually totally understandable that you might think that this is actually a completely different scale. But it's not. I don't think it is. It's just that modern Western vehicles are just massive. But yeah, they're sticking with this K-Class in Japan for tax and insurance benefits. Anyways, that's why I like to collect them. It's just nice to see such the disparity in the size of cars in real life by collecting diecast cars. And so, in conclusion, I guess, well, we should let this spin on its own. This video is about this car, not an Audi. But I'm pretty impressed with BM Creations. They seem to always be changing their designs a little bit, improving. Other companies, they just make one model and they try to sell it for 10 years. You know what brand that is. If you watch my channel, I would usually rag on them. But the value of this model is quite fantastic. I mean, the fact that it has two metal grills front and rear, it's got a second set of wheels, it's got different ways to display the top. You can display this in like 3 different ways. So at the top, up, targa, or down, as it is right now. So it's really hard to beat BM Creations on value. They're quickly, well, they already were one of my favorite brands, but now they're just solidifying themselves as one of my top 10, perhaps top 5 brands now. So we'll have to see what else they come out with. I'm going to definitely give them a shot again, as long as they don't have opening panels. I know that they have a couple trucks coming out with doors that open, and those I'm going to pass on. I just don't like panel gaps like that. I don't do dioramas, so I don't really, display my models with the panels open. Alright, well, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you'll stay around until the next BM Creations review. Thanks.